Hello and thank you for watching this presentation. My name is Saskia Adiva and I'm honored to present our research titled Analyzing the Influence of Gamification Features on User Retention in Language Learning Apps, conducted in collaboration with my co-authors, Gusti Agastia Yogeswara Ramadhan and 𝗓𝗃𝗃 Susanto under the supervision of Mr. Sulistyo Heripracoyo from the School of Information Systems, Bina Nusantara University, Jakarta, Indonesia. This paper is presented as part of the 15th IEEE Symposium on Computer Applications and Industrial Electronics, and through it, we aim to explore how paid gamification features influence user retention in digital language learning platforms, specifically through the lens of information system success model. Here is a quick overview of today's presentation. There are 6 sections starting from the background to the key conclusions and suggestions for future studies. Let's dive into the first part, background of the study. In today's interconnected world, over 8 billion people rely on second language fluency for effective global communication. But acquiring a second language is significantly more challenging than learning a first language. This is where technology plays a key role. The rise of mobile-assisted language learning, or MAL, has made it easier for learners to study anytime, anywhere, right from their phones. The MAL industry itself is booming, valued at over $20 billion in 2023 and projected to hit nearly $90 billion by 2031. Among these platforms, Duolingo stands as a global leader. As of the second quarter of 2024, it leads the educational app category with 14.3 million downloads, maintaining strong popularity especially in the Asia-Pacific region. This dominance raises important questions. Can platforms like Duolingo deliver real learning outcomes beyond engagement? And just how effective are its game-like elements in sustaining long-term user retention? Let's take a closer look at the framework of this study. We selected Duolingo as our research object because it is recognized as one of the most gamified MAL, with 22 in-app game-like features. Among these, our study only focuses on 5 paid gamification elements that have consistently available over years, like Super Duolingo, Strix Freeze, Power-Ups, Paid Hertz, and Gems. Gamification itself refers to the use of game-like features in non-game contexts to boost motivation and engagement. Despite its popularity and successful freemium model, Duolingo faces criticism. 30 critical user reviews on Google Play from 2021 to 2024 revealed concerns about limited learning depth due to excessive gamification. And based on self-determination theory, this overuse may hinder users' intrinsic motivation to learn. This research aims to assess, examine, and evaluate whether Duolingo's gamification effectively supports user retention, contributes to long-term language learning goals, and sustains its freemium model in the competitive MAL landscape. User retention itself is defined as how long users actively engage over time. To evaluate Duolingo's gamification effectiveness, this study uses the updated version of the DeLone and McLean IA success model, which incorporated service quality as a new variable and merged organizational and individual impact into a single outcome, which is net benefits. In this study, net benefits are represented by D30 user retention, which refers to users who return to the app and continue using paid gamification features within 30 days. This widely used framework measures information system success through 6 variables such as information quality, system quality, service quality, usage, user satisfaction, and net benefits, each assessed using 5 to 6 indicators that were derived from the original documentation and prior empirical studies that adapted the model in various IS and e-learning contexts. In this study, we formulated 9 hypotheses to explore the causal relationships among the 6 variables as shown in the diagram. Starting from the 3 quality constructs like information quality, system quality, and service quality, which are each hypothesized to significantly influence both usage and user satisfaction. Additionally, we propose that usage not only influences user satisfaction but also directly impacts user retention. At the same time, satisfaction is also expected to significantly predict retention. This hypothesis lays the groundwork for the structural model assessment in the following sections. This study involved a survey distributed to 310 participants residing in Greater Jakarta or the Jabodetabek region. The process was divided into 3 key parts. First, we created 31 closed-ended questions based on the indicators of each variable using a Likert scale from 1 to 5, along with open-ended questions for qualitative feedback using Google Forms. Then, we pretested it on 21 participants to ensure its reliability before broader distribution. Second, in determining the sample size, we initially applied Here's 10 times rule by multiplying the total number of 31 indicators by 10, resulting in a minimum of 310 respondents. However, this method has been criticized for potential bias, prompting us to cross-check it using 𝗬𝗺𝗃 sample size formula. With a margin of error, or D, set at 0.055, the result also aligned at 310 respondents, supporting the reliability of the sample threshold. Finally, for the sampling technique, we employed purposive sampling with clear criteria as shown on the slide. For the procedure of analysis, the PLSM approach was applied using Smart PLS. First, we use PLSM algorithm to assess both the conversion and discriminant validity, also the reliability of the indicators for each variable, which are part of outer model analysis. Subsequently, bootstrapping was performed to analyze whether the relationships between variables are statistically significant or not based on the 9 formulated hypothesis, which is a part of inner model analysis. Now, we've entered the results and discussion section. In this part, we begin by exploring the demographics of our survey respondents, which are relatively young, urban, and loyal users. By gender, female users slightly outnumber males, showing a balanced but female-leaning user base. By area of residence, a strong urban representation in the dataset may reflect Jakarta's higher adoption of mall compared to surrounding regions. By age range, young adults seems to dominate the user base. Nearly 75% of respondents are aged 17 to 34, showing Duolingo's strong appeal to students and young professionals. Also, by period of use, a striking 72.58% of respondents reflect the platform's ability to retain users to learn languages through gamified experiences. We also found interesting patterns regarding which paid features drive higher engagement with 3 key observations. First, power-ups dominate both use and engagement by offering tangible incentives that appeal strongly to learners with long-term goals, making them the most frequently used and highest-rated feature. Followed by Super Duolingo, many users are willing to invest in premium features that enhance their learning journey, suggesting a clear perceived value from upgrading to Super. Third, paid Hearts emerge as the least engaging and used feature, likely because it feels overly transactional for insufficient added value, especially when free alternatives like waiting or using gems are available. We now move into the results of our data analysis using Smart PLS, starting from the normality testing. Technically, normality testing isn't required in PLSM since it is a non-parametric method, but including it will help to strengthen the validity of our data. In this figure, we illustrate the skewness values distribution within the acceptable range of -2 to +2 following Hare et al.'s guideline written in 2017. The results suggest that the data is approximately normally distributed, with no extreme skewness or outliers and only minor kurtosis deviations that are not considered critical. Continuing to the outer model analysis, this slide focuses on evaluating convergent validity to ensure that each of the indicators truly measure the intended variables. Based on the analysis, the loading factors of all indicators exceed 0.7, as shown in Figure 4, indicating that they strongly reflect their respective variables. Likewise, average variance extracted, or AVE values, are above 0.5, as shown in Figure 5, meaning each variable explains more than half of the variance in its indicators. Therefore, convergent validity is achieved across all variables. Still within the outer model analysis, this slide focuses on discriminant validity, which assesses whether each variable in the model is truly distinct from the others. Using the Fornell-Larker criterion, the square root of each variable's AVE must be greater than its correlations with other latent variables to achieve discriminant validity, which it does. This confirms that each construct is distinct and unique within the model. And the final component of the outer model is reliability testing, which ensures that the indicators consistently measure the intended variable. As shown in Figure 5, both 𝗓𝗃𝗃𝗃 and composite reliability values are above 0.7 for all variables, confirming that the indicators reliably measure their respective variables. Moving on to the inner model analysis, this slide presents the significance testing results for each of the 9 hypotheses. A relationship is considered significant if the t-stats exceed 1.960 and the p-value is below 0.1. As shown in the table, all hypotheses meet this criteria and their significance are confirmed with several keys to note. As expected, user satisfaction has the strongest influence on retention, also acting as a key mediator between usage and retention. Enhancing it through motivation, learning experience, and transaction performance, those prove to be a stronger driver of retention than mere usage or need for learning materials. Interestingly, despite free service quality indicators being among the most agreed upon items in the survey, its relationship with usage is the least significant among all. This suggests that users are more drawn to gamified experiences than service elements, which is in contrast to the 2003 revision of the DeLone and McLean IS model that presented service quality as a new information system's key success factor. Information quality and usage also exhibit as the second least significant in the model. This may be due to perceived gaps in accuracy, relevance, or clarity of English-based content, considering most respondents are English learners. As a result, the findings may not fully generalize to other language versions, which could offer better content quality or copywriting. While this study provides valuable insights, we discovered 3 post hoc limitations which were discovered after analyzing the research data. First, as English was the most learned language among participants, findings may not fully reflect the perceptions of other language learners. This raises a potential bias toward English content delivery. Second, long-term users who dominate the respondent pool may show a familiarity effect and rate features more critically, simply because they are more explorative compared to newer users. This could contribute to lower ratings despite actual effectiveness. Third, there's a non-standardized interactions across features. Some users had experience with all 5 gamified features, while others interacted with only 1 or 2. This uneven exposure was not controlled in the study and could influence the perceived effectiveness of certain features. In this final section, we will conclude the study and discuss its implications and recommendations for future researches. Let's move to the conclusion. First, user satisfaction significantly strengthens the link between usage and retention. The indirect path from usage to satisfaction and to retention is more impactful than direct usage alone, emphasizing the need to improve user experience rather than just increasing usage time. Second, as service quality shows the weakest influence on usage, despite being emphasized in the updated DeLone and McLean model, there's a need to rethink service delivery in platforms like Duolingo. This may indicate a gap between perceived service value and actual outcomes, even among paying users. Moving on to the implications. Theoretically, these findings challenge the revised DeLone and McLean model, specifically the role of service quality. And practically, Duolingo should improve how it introduces premium features without disrupting non-paying users, ensure thoughtful pricing and feature implementation, also balance gamification with strong instructional design. Adaptive learning strategies may also help personalize the experience and enhance learning outcomes. Finally, here are several recommendations for future researches. First, future studies could test the effectiveness of paid gamification features across different linguistic and education contexts to see if the findings hold true beyond English learners. Second, it will be valuable to compare freemium users and premium users more closely to assess how gamification impacts them differently. And third, using qualitative methods or longitudinal designs could provide deeper insights into how user motivation and retention evolve over time. That brings us to the end of this presentation. Thank you very much for your time and attention. We hope this research could provide valuable insights for future MOL development. We look forward to connecting with you beyond this session.